Hello, and thank you for downloading this presentation about your Performing Arts course option in Year 10 at Christleton High School. The course we offer is an AQA Technical Award in Performing Arts, which is equivalent to a GCSE. And this course appeals to anyone who's interested perhaps in performing, whether that might be acting, singing, dance, or indeed any other type of performance, including musical instruments and so on. Technical theatre, if people have an interest in lighting, sound, set design, stage management, costume, and so on. Perhaps you're just somebody who enjoys creative tasks, even though you haven't had much experience in the performing arts before. That might be a good reason to consider this course. Perhaps you'd just like to work on improving your confidence or your presentation skills. At no point in this course will you have to perform or present to hundreds of people like you might in a real theatre, but you will work in some small groups to develop small presentations and performances to the rest of the class. Maybe you really enjoy sometimes working on your own, but have the option of working with groups as well. If any of these things are true of you, then there is a good chance that this course might be right for you. So here are the details. There are 3 components altogether, and the first component, called Unlocking Creativity, would be your coursework for Year 10. And this unit is worth just under a third of the overall qualification. It's assessed internally by your teachers, and you have a choice of either taking on a performance role or a production role, and I'll give you a lot more information about the options in those later on. The things you will need to show that you can do through some evidence are on the list there. So you'll go through a process of finding out about things, putting your ideas together, organising your response, and then presenting about it at the end. And the way you'll actually be assessed is through a portfolio of evidence. This could be a folder with lots of paper in it, or it could be an electronic portfolio, which is even more popular. And also you'd have a recording of you with a group presenting your ideas for a production to the group. So it's a hypothetical production, and that means you're allowed to let your imagination run wild and really go for it on scale. Unit 2, which is your Year 11 coursework, is actually putting those skills to practice that you've developed during Year 10, and you will put together an actual performance, either in a performing or a production role. So again, worth just under a third of the whole course, assessed internally, focusing on one of those roles, and this is in response to a brief from the exam board. So you work as part of a small group of 4 or 5 people, and you will deliver a final performance. If you're in a production role, then you would deliver a final production. And the way that you're assessed is through the recording of either your performance or production role and a logbook, which is a bit like a diary. So you keep a diary of your contribution to the group's development of the piece over the year, and then you submit that as supporting evidence at the end. And finally, at the end of Year 11, you will sit Component 3, which is the written exam. So this takes place in the summer of Year 11. And there are a number of things that this exam will expect you to have learned during the course, all of which you will need to do Components 1 and 2. So it's quite nice, it happens automatically. And here are some of them. So who does what in the performing arts industry? How do those of us who enjoy going to the theatre choose what we like to see? Why do some people not go to the theatre? We talk about regional theatre, national theatre, and different genres of theatre. How people even put theatre performances together in terms of rehearsal. Working as a performer or a director, we learn about what that's actually like in terms of a theatre job, a career. What about the people who have to make sure that lots of theatre goers hear about the productions and market them? Health and safety, design and technical elements, and of course reviewing the performance. We also learn about theatre and film in education. So you would go into the exam and answer a number of questions about these in a very sort of clear structure that we'd practice with you during Year 11. So, one of the most important things to say about this course is that it's very flexible. As long as you take on one role from either the performance or the production list at some point, from each of those lists, you can choose to focus. So here are the options. And if you want to do a number of these different things and concentrate on performance roles throughout the course, then you can. If production is more your thing, then you only have to do one of these at one point, and then you'll be able to focus on production the rest of the time. Likewise, if performance is your thing, then perhaps you just choose one of these production roles for one point during the course and concentrate on performance all of the rest of the time. But those are all of the options there. And in fact, there are others in discussion with your teachers. But it's a very, very flexible course and lets you focus on things that you're interested in and want to improve. So what happens at the end in terms of results and so on? Well, your grade is calculated as one of those on the left-hand side, either a distinction star, which is the same as an 8 or a 9 at GCSE, and down to a pass, which is a 4 or a 5 at GCSE. So the lowest mark is a pass. So as long as you pass the course, you're automatically guaranteed to have achieved a level equivalent to a 4 or a 5 at GCSE. And on the right hand side, it shows you roughly what percentage you need to get for all your assessments in order to achieve that grade. So we've been running for the last few years a BTEC qualification. We've switched with our current year 10 to the AQA one, but it's still a vocational qualification. And this is, on average, how we perform as a school. So everyone in the last 2 years has passed the course, as you can see at the bottom. It says 100%. Nearly 3/4 of students have actually got at least a merit. Almost a half have got one of the top 2 marks. And 1/4 of all of the students who have sat the Performing Arts course in year 10 and 11 have achieved the top mark of Distinction Star. So we're very proud of those results. So what do past students say? Well, I've had some quotes here from some past students who are currently still in school in year 12 or 13. And if you'd like to pause the video now, you could have a read of these comments. And on this next screen, there are some more quotes from 2 other people currently still in school. And finally, there's a 3rd screen. So if you'd like to read these, then you could pause the video now. Suffice to say that we find that students really, really enjoy this course. They enjoy the opportunities to work on their own, to work with groups, to focus on particular areas of performing arts that interest them the most. And it's really important that we try to get across to you how, as well as being an academic qualification, it's also a very creative opportunity for students. So what do we offer? Well, we have good staff who have experience of the performing arts in the real world. As you saw before, a tradition of really strong results. We have some excellent resources for performance and production, small group sizes and a subscription to Digital Theatre Plus, which is proving very useful at the moment because it's a way to watch theatre without obviously having to go to the theatre. So we offer you a lot of things in return, as well as hard work and lots of support and help. Of course, we offer extracurricular opportunities such as drama clubs and annual productions and so on. And we very much hope that these will be able to restart sometime this year. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation. We hope that you're considering performing arts, and if you've got any questions at all, you can contact myself, Mr. Phillips, or Mrs. De Winton on those email addresses there, or in any other way that's appropriate by email or whatever, and we'll be very happy to answer your questions. We hope that you have enjoyed this presentation, and we look forward to perhaps seeing some of you at the start of year 10.